We are back with our next episode of Monday Mailbag. This is the series where you guys ask questions and I answer them, man. It could be about college football, the video game, or real life college football, college basketball at this point, as we just know that's we just figured out that's dropping here in 2028, which is a long time. But any questions y'all have, drop them down below, the Discord, the live stream. Just drop questions and we'll answer them here, man. We're going to put 10 minutes on the clock, man. First of all, we're a week out of college football 26, man. If y'all hype, let me know down below, man. If y'all want to join my online dynasty, let me know down below. Join the Discord. Also, like, comment, subscribe on the channel, and check out my Twitch. We are going crazy. Let's go ahead and put 10 minutes on this clock, and let's go ahead hop into the first question. We got a lot of questions today, man. Do you think pipelines will stay the same in college football 26? It's a two-part question. Also, what should we consider when picking a new team in college football 26, man? That second question honestly could be like a whole video idea that I probably will do in the future. But to answer the first part of your question, do you think pipelines will stay the same? Unfortunately, pipelines are very similar, if not exactly the same in this next video game, man. And that's unfortunate. The thing that is different is you're able to easily upgrade your pipelines, or more easy than last year, man. It's a feature in the coach abilities where you could upgrade pipelines for a certain position group. But other than that, is no dynamic pipelines. And that's probably one of my biggest issues with this video game, with this next college football 26. No dynamic pipelines. That hurts. That hurts, man, because that was one of my biggest acts. You know, obviously we got the dynamic deal breakers, another very important thing. But I don't know, both of them things go head to head, because when you're building a program, you want your pipelines to change. You know, if I'm going crazy recruiting, for example, I was Temple this past year and we turned into a powerhouse, and my Philly pipeline was only ever a 2. The only way it can be upgraded if I unlock CEO and unlock them abilities. But you tell me I'm recruiting nothing but Philadelphia players, PA players, and my pipeline is the worst in Philadelphia. My New York pipeline was the 3. So out of state, I was better at recruiting players than in state. That just don't sit right with me, and the fact that can never change also was an issue to me. So unfortunately, very similar. The good thing, Team Builder allows you to change pipelines. If you make your Team Builder, you could then change pipelines. So that's the good part, but a lot of people don't want to do Team Builder. They don't want to do online dynasties, but that is good. We do have that feature. And then the second part of your question, my guy, what should we consider when picking a new team, man? And first, like, it depends what you want to do. What are you looking for in your dynasty, man? Some dynasties, like this one right here, my goal is to win a national championship within 10 years, you know. So I'm going to pick a team that's not that good, UAB in this situation, and my goal is to build them up and win a natty. I had other goals where I wanted to get a 1-star program to a 5-star program, you know. So you got to understand your goal. Is it to win 1 natty? Is it to win 5 natties? Is it just to play until I don't have fun anymore? Because if that's your goal, you might stop having fun after 2-3 games. But if you actually set a goal, hey, I want to win a natty in 5 years. If I don't win that natty, I'm moving on to the next dynasty. If I didn't win a natty in 10 years, thankfully we did, I would have just moved on. I would have lost. You know, it's almost like, you know, you put a goal on it. If you don't win that goal, you move on. Maybe your goal is to start as an offensive coordinator and to get a head coach job at the Power 4 level, Power 5 level. So just understand what your goal is, and once you identify that, now you kind of filter out what teams you have to choose from. You know, now if your goal is to rebuild a 1-star, well, guess what? You can only choose from 1-stars. Now you gotta look at some other factors. You know, for me, I like to look at teams that I have some type of some value in. So for example, Temple. The reason I did my Temple rebuild, I went to school there. Super simple. If I didn't pick Temple, I probably would have picked like Rutgers, because Rutgers is close to Philadelphia. I'm from Philly, you know. Or maybe I would have picked another team. Maybe I would have did a Team Builder with UPenn. I used to work at UPenn. You know, for me, I need a team that, you know, I have some type of skin in the game with, is what we call it, you know. So that works for me. You know, like I said, I'll probably drop a whole video covering this, because that's a very good question. A lot of people are probably considering what teams to rebuild next year, what team to do first. Because if you rebuild a team and 3-4 games in, you figure out you're not all that interested, that sucks. You just wasted hours. So I probably will drop a video on that. Good idea. Let me know if y'all want to see that video. Let's hop into this next question, man. And this question needs a little bit of context. In my last Monday mailbag, I pretty much talked about equipment, and made some people upset, but it led to a great conversation in the comment section, man. And my point was, I don't think equipment is as important as other people do. And, people didn't like that. And I get it. Equipment, drip, how these players look is important. One person said you look good, you feel good, you play good, Deion Sanders quote. But the question is, why are people obsessed with Road to Glory? That's the same reason people are obsessed with equipment. And I will give some pushback against that, man. Road to Glory is a whole game mode. It's a whole game mode. Equipment is a immersion factor in the game. Now, if you want to compare it to like dynamic lighting or dynamic weather, I'm willing to hear that out. But the reason people love Road to Glory is not the same reason people love equipment. Road to Glory is a game mode. That's a game mode. I think it's a little bit different, similar, a little bit different though. But I appreciate all y'all boys that drop down below why y'all love the equipment aspect. Some people are saying I'm onk. Hey, I'm onk. If I'm onk because I don't think equipment is as important, I just much rather them produce a good product and they could drop all the equipment in the world 2 months later into the game and I'll be good. Equipment needs to be in the game. We just can't have these Joe Schmoes out here with the old helmets with no face masks. We need to have the gloves, but I just don't think it's the most important thing in the world. I'll much rather them focus on game moves and gameplay and a bunch of other stuff than equipment. If y'all feel different, let me know. I appreciate y'all for pretty much having that discussion in the last video. Let's move on to the next question here, man. And this is a good one. So you think do you think player traits and tendencies will play a factor into players transferring? And what he's asking, if you go to, a player, hit triangle on them, then go over to this screen where you see stats, you're able to see their traits at this point. Go down to traits, and you're able to see their personality traits, And every player has different traits. Now, does this impact them transferring at all? I have no idea. I would say no. I think this feature will still be in the next game. You'll have some guys. I'm looking for a guy with a loyalty trait. And, he's spontaneous. So maybe he's more likely to transfer because he just in the moment. Okay, well, now I'm feeling this way. I'm hopping the portal. That's how that personality traits will, that's how I would perceive that, But you'll have some guys, I see we can find at least a guy with maybe leader personality trait. I believe that's also a trait, a leader. And maybe if you get a guy like that, maybe he's more likely not to transfer, especially if he's a starter and maybe in a leadership position. But the answer to your question, I think it's going to be a no, especially with us seeing dynamic deal breakers. I also, to just expand on your question, at one point I thought so leader right here, personality trait leader. So in theory, this guy wouldn't transfer because he's a leader. He's not going to try to leave to go to another program. He's the leader. He want to be the guy. So maybe if he's not the starter, then he'll transfer. But as long as he's in a starting position or a leadership position, he should never transfer out in my head. Do that work and will work like that in this next video game? I would say no. I'll be surprised if they added that element. I think it's going to be all off of, that's a crazy name. Change your name, my guy. But I think it's going to all be off of dynamic deal breakers and, them deal breakers changing. Maybe personality trait has something to do with how your deal breaker change. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. But very good question. But like I was saying, just to finish my point, at some point in College Football 25, I thought personality trait, if they had a leadership trait, I thought they pretty much would develop faster or better than other players. But throughout the year, I was able to pretty much not prove that wasn't true, but I no longer believe that. Like this guy, he's a senior. He got the leadership personality trait. He's only a 79 overall. Maybe he's maxed out. Maybe not. Let's look. And impact development 3-star, he's damn near maxed out. He's also scrambling quarterback. We know they just don't develop as well as the other guys. But at one point I thought, okay, they got the leader personality trait. That means they got good development trait, good skill caps, and also they'll usually reach their highest potential or get to a high overall. Not the case. We'll see what type role that plays next year, man. I wonder if that whole thing will be in the game. I think it definitely played an impact on everything but players transferring, if that makes sense. I think it played an impact on gameplay, but I don't think it had any impact on players transferring this current year, and 26, I don't think it will either, man. We got 1 minute left, and we have one last question we'll get into. Got time for one more question. Why does video games bring back old features like they are brand new? And I guess a lot of examples of that. The trophy room. Did they bring it back like it was brand new? I wouldn't say. I don't think they announced it like we got this brand new feature, trophy room. I think they announced it like trophy room is now returning. We didn't have enough time to get into the game last year. We wanted to make sure we do it right. Here it is. But you see a lot of games doing that. 2K does that a lot. Take something out, put it back in 3 years later. I think the reality of it, the person that makes the game, 3 years ago and the person that makes the game, 3 years later, it's probably two different people. Obviously the same company, but usually I'm thinking the person that may be in charge or, making the decisions, probably not the same exact person. So that's probably why you see that, difference year, every single year with the video games. But if I'm EA, if I'm the company, let's think about it from the company side. If I take this feature out, it wasn't quite working, and 3 years later I decide to add it back. Well, I'm trying to hype my game up. I'm trying to make my game seem as good as possible. So yeah, I'm gonna say it's a brand new feature. We ain't do it right the last time anyway. So it's a brand new feature. We're adding it to the game. Here you go. And it's probably other examples of that. Trophy room. One thing I also seen, man, I believe in NCAA 14, it was ski mask. Maybe it was 13. But I seen on Twitter earlier today, someone said ski masks were in the game, and that's back to equipment, guys. I don't think ski masks will be in this game, but I bet you whenever ski masks do get put into the college football or Maddens, they're going to act like it's a brand new feature that never been in the video game. In reality, it was in the video game years ago. Years ago, it was in the video game, man. Like I said, I seen it on Twitter. I think it was 14 or 13, might even been 12 when it was in NCAA. But it'll be added back 1 year. Probably not this year. Maybe they'll add it mid-season if we get lucky for you equipment guys. But, hey, man, it's marketing. You got to make your cheese. You got to get people hyped for the game one way or another. And if that's taking the feature out, and they might not do it on purpose, but if they are doing it on purpose, it is what it is, man. It's all for the money. It's all for, the promotion. You got to add new features or people going to say you're making the same exact game as a reskin. So, it is what it is, man. If y'all boys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If y'all excited for College Football 26, click the Discord, man. If you just want to talk about the video game, these updates, it's a community, man. You don't have to join the league. Just tap in, and we're down there talking. Also, check out the live stream. We're going to be live tonight over on Twitch, so tap in. Other than that, appreciate y'all boys, and we on to the next one.